We're not late. It's just episode 8. What's going on, everybody? Green Hand here again. Today we're going to be working on something pretty simple. We're going to be caring for, first off, our paracord. Maintenance. Keeping up with your equipment is very important. You don't want faulty equipment or things crapping out on you when you're when you're out trying shit. I mean, I've had a couple videos where I was ill prepared. The tarp video, I had no idea how big the tarp was. Fucking up cutting links on my rope and stuff like that. And since all of this has started, I haven't really been caring for my equipment the way I should. So this episode, that's what we're going to do. I got some paracord here. I'm going to show you how to care for it. And then we're going to try some knots. And as you can see right behind me, I have a couple fishing poles here. I've been fishing this past week, so I have some footage for that. Because we've covered fire, we've covered shelter. So next we got to start working on food and water, right? Essentially, that is kind of the way you set up your life if you're in a survival situation. Obviously, you got to take care of the basics, and we've taken care of a couple, so we got to start on a couple more. So we got that going on, so it should be a great episode. Looking forward to it. Thanks for checking it out, and without further ado, let's get started. So, as always, today, survival tool number 1, Mr. Bong goes out again. We have paracord for the knot demonstrations and care demonstrations, and we have my fishing poles. So, that's the equipment we're using today. Let's get it going. So, like I said, we have our paracord here. We have 2 different lengths. I have a short length that I'm just going to do a couple demonstrations on, and I got a longer length that I'm going to do a few more demonstrations on. But both of these need to be cared for. Well, the longer one does, at least, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this end frayed like it is here, just in case I ever need to take these smaller pieces out for anything. That's the great thing about paracord, is you have more than one rope in your rope. Really, any rope you have more than one rope if you look at it. But paracord is just easier because it's set up to be taken apart sometimes. Like I said, this frayed end, you can take that out. You can use it for fishing line, snare rope, a lot of different stuff. So that's good. So I'm going to keep that one like that if I ever need it like that. But this other one, I'm going to show you how I, anyways, care for the ends of my paracord. So these little frayed ends don't just pop out whenever I don't want them to. So we have our paracord right here, and we're going to use a lighter to burn the end of it and basically just melt the end of it into a little dot there, so everything stays where it's supposed to stay. Hit this first. And then we take the end of our paracord and we take our lighter, and what we're going to do is slowly melt the ends of that and hold it up so it all melts in one dot at the end of your paracord. Just like that. Blow it out. Don't touch it right away because that's hot and it will burn the shit out of the end of your finger. But you let it cool off a little bit. See, it's already starting to form, and once it cools off, you can just take your finger and kind of mold it around so you make sure everything stays where it's supposed to. And it closes up evenly and it doesn't move anywhere. So very easy, very quick, but very important as well to take care of your equipment and to make sure that your paracord stays functional. There it is, done, finito. Our paracord is taken care of. We have a full length, probably 2 to 2.5 meters of paracord here. That's about roughly 6 to 6.5 feet. Both ends are burned and tied off, and we can start moving on to some of our knots. So, I have my demonstration log here. Just a little piece of wood I got from work that I got a hole drilled in that I'm going to show you something with later on that. But to start out, in my videos we have seen that sometimes when I tie stuff up it doesn't hold, and other times obviously it holds. I'm going to show you now the knots that I try and get fancy with that don't hold, and the knots that I know that hold. So let's get started with that. So, one of the most basic knots that everybody knows is, you just put it through, cross, go under, tighten, cross again, go under, tighten. Everybody knows that knot. I don't know the name of most of these knots, but I know how to do them. It's a good one to use. It holds pretty well. It's easy, it's quick, it's not going to let you down. I, however, do one modification to this knot to where when you go through on the initial time, when you cross and you go through, instead of going through one time and tightening, I go through twice and tighten. Now if you look on the end of that, I have more of a base that's tied there, that is crossed up, that's causing friction, whatever you want to say. So when I go up, and you can see already that when I go up, that isn't even going anywhere. It's not moving, it's sturdy. So when I go up, I cross, and I go through again, and I tighten, now that knot is a lot more sturdy, and it's not going to go anywhere. It just makes a base. And also what that is useful for is, if you look right here like that, you can put something in there, tie it, and then make your other cross and through knot again, and you can tie things to each other however you'd like. To demonstrate, all I gotta do is grab a stick. So, as I was saying, you have your loop there. If I wanted to, for some reason, tie this stick on top of this wood, this is the base I would use. I would tie, I would go up, cross, through, and tighten again. And now that's on there, not going anywhere. Right? Sturdy. Right? So if you're setting up structures, if you're setting up cross beams, if you're setting up whatever and you need a sturdy base for your knot, something to stay, that's how I would do it. So that's our first demonstration of the knot. That's one that works. That's one that I use on the ends of the tarps. When I hold the tarp together, when I held the tarp together for the tarp hammock, that's what the knot that I used. The knots that I used when I tied the short end of the hammock to the tree, that's the knot that I used, because I was sure that it wasn't going to fall. Let's see. Okay, another basic knot that I use is a slip knot. Right? Now, the point of a slip knot is to be able to tie your rope, right? To tie your rope and be able to slip out the knot, right? Slip knot, right? So the way you do that is you grab a loop, you cross your rope. Let's see. How do I do a slip knot? It's hard to explain it. Okay, so what I do, this, and then when you cross, you grab, oh, there it is, okay. So, you see how the rope is crossed here on top? Like that? Okay, so I'm going to go through the back, and I'm going to grab the rope, and then I'm going to tighten, right? I'm going to tighten it. Now, let's make a loop, right? Loop bigger, but at the same time, very easy to let go, right? So once again, now that I have that figured out, what you do is make your rope 2 parts, cross it, and you come from the back side of the cross and you grab your rope, you pull through to tighten, right? To tighten it. Now, what this does is it gives you a loop, right? So if you want to loop something onto something and tighten it really quick, you have a way that you can at least hold on to something, right? You can hold on to it, which is pretty nice. And then you can loosen it up if you want to. It's not hard to loosen up, and you take it right off. So that is the basics of the slip knot, right? And then it just slips out. No knot. Another knot that I use that's very similar to the slip knot, but is not a slip knot. I use this for snaring. I use this for my loops. Slip knots are easy, they're quick, but I prefer something stronger that I know isn't going to slip out. And the way I do that is, so once again, 2 parts, you make a loop, you cross over, but instead of tying with the draw portion, right, with the part that makes it bigger, you don't tie with that part, you just wrap around the string and tie it to itself, right? You make a knot around the outside of the rope, right? So this will not slip, and it's not as easy. You have to put more pressure to loosen this. That's why I use it for a snare knot, because it'll tighten all the way down. It won't slip out, but it tightens all the way down, and it's pretty tough to get that loose. So that's why that knot is good for a snare knot. Now do that one more time. And then you have to take it out as well. So that's another good thing. So you can make sure that it stays. Okay. Before I demonstrate that, a little thirsty. Okay, so take your string. This is the end. Take your string, make your loop. Go all the way around your drawstring, the string that's going to loosen and tighten, go all the way around that, and then tie your knot here with this, because this is the end, right? So you're going to tie your knot with this portion of the rope. Go through, tighten it. There you go. Now, you can tighten this all the way down. It doesn't slip out. It just gets tighter. And once again, that's why it's used for snares and traps. You have to pull it out, and it's pretty difficult. But it's a pretty strong loop. So that's why it's used. So, now it's time to show you the shit that I try to get fancy with, right? Okay. So, when I tied up the first end of the tarp hammock, I basically, this is the branch. I basically went around the branch like this, and then down here, right, I made a cross, and so we'll do it upside down. So I went like this, right? And I made a cross in my rope, which is you put a perpendicular intersection in your rope, right? You make a cross, you go around, but you go through the rope and back down. And what that's supposed to do is keep this tight, like this, right? So it's supposed to be a loop like that. And then I try to tie my strong snare knot tie, which probably wasn't the right way to do that, but that's the knot that I tried to use, into it. And all that did was it caused this to slip down and continue to slipping and continue to slipping and continue to slipping. It didn't work. So that's why that didn't work, because there was nothing that I actually tied on the rope. It was just there. So yeah, tried to get fancy, didn't work out. But then I just tried my normal knots that I know, and we were successful, obviously. So in a survival situation is not the time to be trying some new shit, I don't think. Unless you're comfortable with it and you think you can figure it out, but if it's getting down to the wire, just go with what you know. So now that I have showed you what has worked with the knots that I've attempted in the videos and what hasn't, I'm going to show you the fishing knot that I know. I basically know one fishing knot. My brother-in-law showed it to me when I was 17, 18 years old. Shout out to my brother-in-law. And I never forgot it, and it's always worked. I've never had a hook or a lure come off of my line at all with this knot. So I'm going to share it and show you. And then I'm going to show you how I set up my rigs when I go fishing. And yeah, got a little treat for you after that. So first things first, where'd my lighter go? Found it. So with this fishing knot, you take your rope, your line, your fishing line, right, and you bend it to make a loop at the end. And you take your loop and you put it through your lure hole, your bait, your hook hole, right, whatever you're tying onto the line. However, if you can use this for weights too, but you bring that all the way through, right? You gotta make sure you have enough line, because what you're going to do is you're going to take this, go up, cross, right? You're going to take your loop side through the rope, you're going to bring it down, you're going to then wrap it around your lure, hook, whatever you're using, and then tighten that portion up to the top of your rope, okay? So, now, at the top of your lure, this is basically the knot that you end up with, right? Okay? And you just tighten it down, you pull the portion of your line that goes to your reel, and you tighten that portion. Pull that tight. You don't break your line, obviously, but you pull it tight, and once you pull it tight, this isn't going anywhere. This will not come off of here until you cut it off. So obviously what you do is you take this extra portion of line that you have and you would cut that off, so your line just ends at the knot, your hook, and your lure. right? Then the lure goes through the water. Okay, so that is how I set up all of my fishing lines. It's the knot that I used. It's hasn't failed me yet. So now that we are done with the knots that I know, the knots that I've tried and haven't worked, I've showed you how I set up my fishing line, well, my knot on the fishing line. Now I'm going to show you how I set up the baits on some of the fishing lures that I used. So on this first pole, what I have is a small grub leading to a spinnerbait. Okay, this works well for me. This grub is bright colored. It looks like, you know, a small little fish swimming through the water, and this is something bright that fish like to eat on. I don't know why they like spinnerbaits, because they're shiny and they bite them. So this has worked for me. I've caught fish on this and on this using the same line. So I don't know if you want to try it. I use the knot that I demonstrated on both portions. Obviously on this one I didn't cut off the extra because I would have lost my spinnerbait, but on this one I did cut off the extra portion of line. So that's how I had that set up, and both of them stay on there. Like I said, I've caught fish on both and haven't lost either one of them. So, and on my other reel, which is a spinning reel, I just have the little guy set up. This past week I haven't had many lures and stuff, so I'm starting to build my tackle box back up and starting to get more stuff ready, so I'll, you know, hopefully be able to catch more and bigger fish, and I can put more of that on film for you guys. So like I said, I got a treat for you. So after this I have some fishing that I've done this past week with these two rods. Caught a couple. I got some new equipment and I had a few mishaps with it, you know. I guess that comes with being a stoner, but I got a few highlights, so I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you know, keep watching my videos. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to be doing something different. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button. Go ahead and share it with your friends also so they can see it too. Green Hand signing off once again.
Damn. Got a fish, folks. Y'all see him. goes. Fucking right. Fuck yeah. Ah! You son of a bitch! Literally just caught this right by the bank. Literally right by the fucking bank. Right there. Right there is where I caught it. He swallowed that shit. There you go, buddy. Out of there.